My guest for today asked me when we first spoke if I play any sports. He was referring to the sense of accomplishment when we complete a task or unlock an achievement. My sense of accomplishment recently has come from running and being able to log that onto my Strava. It's one of the many ways gamification has been able to take over our lives. If you think about, streaks on Snapchat or Duolingo, leaderboards on Peloton, the time sensitivity capturing a photo on Be Real, or even when my phone goes off at night counting my step count. So although marketing campaigns have used game-like features for a while, with so much noise for online marketers to cut through, it makes sense why gamification is on the rise. Over 50% of mobile app users have claimed that they would pay more attention to their behavior and actions if the app has game-like features. So gamification is being used in, and I quote, HR, fashion, consumer brands, health insurance companies, and everything in between, and is set to continue its staggering growth in the coming years. Statistics state the gamification market size is projected to grow from $9.1 billion in 2020 to $30.7 billion by 2025, which is why everyone seems to be getting in on it. So today I've got Andreas with me. He's the co-CEO and chief customer officer of Playable, a leading gamification platform for marketers. He's going to break down how you can win at gamification in the marketing industry and what lessons he's learned while unlocking new levels in Playable's journey. Thanks so much for joining me today, Andreas.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Nas.
Amazing. I'd like to get to know you first. So let's start off with a light and easy question. Who are your top 3 role models?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I have several layers, so to say, that of course the living and the ones you've met in your real life. And so I think I'm a family guy, so I would say my father and grandfather, they are quite similar to me, both humor-wise and view on life-wise. I think that's a very big role model to me privately. Professionally, I have met a couple of I would say highlights in my career. One of them is Claus Nyngård. He used to be the CEO of Just Eat, who's now listed on in London, the stock exchange. He's by far one of the brightest guys I've ever met. And then also I would like to highlight Morten Larsen as well, who's also one of my first mentors within the life of business. So these two have definitely teach me a lot.
Amazing. I'll definitely have to stalk Klaus a little bit. That's a great mentor to have, but I love the family one as well. That's amazing. Although that's technically 4, but anyway. So you asked me, as I said, when we first spoke, if I play any sports. I'd like to return the question and ask if you do play any sports.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in Denmark, or at least in the Nordics, paddle, a combination between tennis. Yeah, combination between squash and tennis has become extremely popular in Denmark, and I play that on a weekly basis. And then I also, like you, have a Strava account where I do a lot of home training on a bicycle, and then I do gym training every morning.
Amazing.
So relatively active, I would say.
Amazing. I feel like I'm seeing paddle everywhere now. Ever since I've become
in Denmark, it's crazy. It went from, I don't know, 50 fields 5 years ago to plus 1,000, which is a lot in Danish terminologies, of course. But I don't know when it will peak or if it will peak.
Well, you keep it going.
Yeah, well.
And then you're based in, is it Aarhus in Denmark?
Yeah.
Have I said that right?
Yeah, it's Aarhus. Yeah.
Aarhus, lovely. What top 3 things should I do if I visit?
I would say we have the symbol of the city is called Aros. It's an art museum, actually. It's quite popular. It's quite significant in the, if you have a view of the city, that's definitely a must see. Then we have a neighborhood, a little bit reminds me about Covent Garden, Soho, Carnaby streets in London, which is a lot of cozy cafes, a lot of trendy fashion stores, etc. It's called Latina Kvarter within Aarhus. And then I think, what's the last thing? See football. We have a quite proud club here in Aarhus. Not always winning, but at least they have a quite big fan community around the city. So that would be my recommendation for the top 3 for you.
Do you support the club more than Liverpool?
No, but our founder within Playable is a big ATF, as the club is called. So we are actually a sponsor in it. I don't know why, but we don't get anything out of it unless a couple of tickets for the founder and his family. But
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good reason as any. That's amazing. Well, thanks for that intro to you. I'd like to kind of get into the story of Playable then. So can you share the story of how Playable was founded and what inspired the founder to start a gamification platform out of everything he can do? And
Yeah.
also the mechanics of what Playable and gamification actually does.
Yeah, I think we have a classic SaaS entrepreneurial background. We used to be in a web agency back in the days where we developed. We were mostly a sub-supplier for the creative agencies. We were, the introvert, the geeks who did all the heavy stuff in the machine room, and then the creative agencies just with all respect put their graphic elements on top of whatever we developed. And then we could see that after have been selling a lot of Christmas calendars, the classic open a window, answer a question or do a game, and then go to a web shop or a store afterwards to redeem a prize. We have been selling that for quite a while with quite big success, and then we started to develop more and more games. And then the founder Thomas and the CEO at that time, Martin, took out the technology and established Playable 7 years ago. Classic. We didn't have an office. We just had a room, no windows, no ventilation, no nothing. And then I was brought in as the second employee within the company, and then we simply started to take all the knowledge that was been built in the agency over many years, and then we hit the market with a SaaS model and a platform that was relatively well developed. So instead of us bootstrapping, doing a lot of develop as you go, test live, etc., we actually had a quite mature platform from day one, which is a little bit unusual because that's normally a quite heavy investment. But we have managed to develop this within the agency over the years and been running a profitable agency. And then we took out the technology, and more or less from day one we were completed with the product. So we didn't have all the classic sorry for my English, hiccups, fuck-ups here and there. We actually hit the market with a very mature platform from A to Z. Of course, it needs development, and every tech company does that. But we had the pleasure of hitting the market with a done and functional product, and then it really went off. We month by month could just see our ARR growing dramatically, and then we also after a year and a half managed to raise the first round of investors, and then we start the internationalization of the company. And what we actually are doing to answer the question number 2 is actually just taking the human brain and the way it reacts to games and putting it into a technology. I think the best example for me always to explain is that if there is a football within the office, we have one here in the Danish Aarhus office, you cannot walk past it without hit it, play it to someone else, or at least touch it. And that's due to the brain is designed to crave and look for patterns in the feel-good hormones, and they are released when we are playing. So by nature, we will always seek into a game or some kind of gamification environment. And a lot of marketeers have known that for years, because we have a lot of coupons, a lot of competitions, etc. Has been very powerful. So we are simply just taking those elements and then put it in a technology. So we are the gamification platform for marketeers, meaning that you can log on as a marketeer wherever you are in the world, create a game. We have 35 different concepts within the platform, put your own graphic elements in it, and then deploy it wherever you meet your customer. And the good thing about the human brain and gamification is that no matter what audience, age, gender, nationality, whatever, the interaction element and the conversion and the willingness to opt into a game is the same. So in theory, we fit into all marketing's tech stacks today. But of course, we have some preferred ICP customers we are aiming for. But everyone reacts more or less the same on gamification, and it's simply due to our human nature. We cannot resist doing games.
Yeah.
It's quite basic. So the same way, if you have the Strava app, it's also a super simple way of illustrating gamification, because you look at, okay, did I compete against, my wife or whoever you're competing against? It gives you basically nothing, but you still get a good feeling the second you close your circles within your Apple Watch, or you are 10% better than last time within your Strava app, etc. So all these things here are gamification elements and are well known, used in many different apps today. I still remember back in the days when I created my LinkedIn profile, it always said that I was 90% done. The last 10% was, of course, to pay a subscription to the LinkedIn Premium model, but it's still the same thing. It's called badging, that you are not completed yet. So I just had these 90% done all over my LinkedIn profile, and it just annoys me until I paid and to be completed with my LinkedIn profile. So we see a lot of gamification elements. We have just put it in a platform and made it available for marketeers around the world. Hope that answers.
Yeah, more that. It's deceptively simple if you think about it, and I think it's definitely new to me. But when I started doing my research, I realized I didn't really have to go very far. Like my whole life is a game at the moment. So yeah, deceptively simple, but very cool nonetheless. I think, what were some of the key challenges you faced in the early days of building Playable, and how did you overcome them?
I think whenever you are hitting, the MarTech market with the new technologies, there is of course the establishment phase. So what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Does it work? And so on. So that was actually, I would not say easy, but it was okay for us to face customers and make them enthusiastic about the results we are creating, and then make them buy a license. The overall and biggest challenge for us was to make the customers adopt the gamification and start to think gamification in their everyday. And the difference between us and all other classic MarTech tools, SaaS tools, we have the same business model as most of them, is that you need to really incorporate gamification in your everyday. So it's not like a email marketing tool, MailChimp, whatever, where you send out X amount of newsletters a month, order confirmations, new passwords, welcome flows, etc., etc. Then you have a well-known, well-identified need, where if you call someone with a gamification platform, there is no budget, there is probably not that much knowledge, and there's definitely not a to-do in the marketing team saying gamification. So the biggest challenge for us in the start was definitely to educate the market, basically, in saying that one thing is you have bought this technology from us on an annual subscription base. Now is the time to use it and adopt it. And that requires a lot of education from our side. And in the start, it was a big challenge for us to have enough time to educate the customers within in our world, of course, endless of benefits of using the technologies, but really adapting that into the everyday of a marketing team was a big challenge for us. And it's still a big challenge, because well, we have endless of cases for this, but if the customer are using the tool like we recommend them to use it, they see performance second to none, and we always outperform all the other marketing investments. But getting to that point really requires a lot of trust, interactions, cases, education, testing, etc. But when we are over that stage, we always outperform whatever they're doing today.
Yeah.
So the initial phase is the hardest one for us, I would say. But I think it's quite normal. But the challenge and the difference between us and, as an example, an email marketing tool is that there is no defined ways of using us. There's no standardization, so to say. That's of course also what we are aiming to establish.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I mean, do you mind me asking a question I hadn't planned on originally, but did that education challenge piece, was that something that you also had to deal with when you were trying to secure funding?
I wasn't a part of the funding processes, but I can imagine it was the same. Of course, VCs look mostly at numbers, but they also need to look at the potential. And we can still see today that even though we only have 700 customers totally, maybe even more, is it's still a challenge for us to make them use the platform enough. Of course, in our world, they should build 10 campaigns every day, but it still illustrates the potential because we haven't seen any limitations or drop in the conversion rate, even though customers are building 10 campaigns a day. So from a VC perspective, I think they quite fast realized that the potential is enormous, and since in theory everyone will react the same way at gamification, all marketeers in the world could use this tool and make a benefit of it. So for us, it has really been challenging to identify our ICP, ideal customer profile, and narrow down our go-to-market focus mostly to them, because that is where we can make the biggest impact fastest without spending too much time on the education piece. So yes, I think it has been a part of both illustrating and sharpen our focus, but also convince the investors that the potential is endless, basically.
Well, I was convinced, if anything. So that's
So far, so good. Yeah.
Definitely, it makes sense to me. I guess it's, you're smashing it, it's established. I guess, how has it been like since those early days in building Playable, especially now in like this post-COVID kind of world?
Yeah, long story. I think to give you a perspective, we started in Aarhus, which is the second biggest city of Denmark. And I think in Denmark, you are something, if you go from Aarhus to Copenhagen and also the other way around. So it was for us a big challenge to just have the mindset of going outside Denmark. But we managed to do this. We opened up, of course, we did some field research, but we got the first investment in this internationalization. And then we started out in opening up offices quite fast in London, in Benelux, in Amsterdam, and in Helsinki in Finland. And those were the three markets we identified as, the natural next step for us. The reasoning why we choose this market was to get access to meetings, which is our SaaS new marketing tools challenge. Because if you don't have anyone to talk with, you can have the best product in the world, but if no one wants to listen to it, come see, come ça, you don't go anywhere. So the reason why choosing this market was getting access to the meeting. And then of course the UK market is super attractive to us and endless of opportunities. The challenge was of course also to go from a relatively, I would say, three handful of people into okay, now we are international company. We speak English to internal meetings and so on. So it sounds super ridiculous when I say it loud now today. But at that time, it was a big thing for us. None of us had done it before. We have mostly been doing or only been doing business within Denmark. So for us, it was also a big challenge legal-wise. Then Brexit came. Also imagine all those transferring things, inside and outside the UK, and just learn and adapt all the new rules that came in place. So all these things were big challenges. And also the thing about taking something from a very small and close team within Aarhus and then transfer that knowledge, behavior, ways of working to other markets, and still adapting and capture the struggles there is within Amsterdam, within Finland, within the UK culture of doing business was also a very, very big challenge for us. And it took some time.
Absolutely, I can imagine. I think the UK, great opportunity, but also you get to see more football, so why not, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, amazing. I think let's talk a little bit more about the platform itself. So it's known for its, you've said it's got an innovative approach to user engagement. How do you actually measure the effectiveness of gamification in marketing, and what metrics do you consider?
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, there is endless of way of attributing, last click conversion, first click conversion, etc., etc. But where we see the the metrics we mostly are looking at, or at least that's the promise we have, and also backed it up by billions of data points, is that every time our customers can make someone enter a gamification campaign activity, online, offline, in-app, wherever you face your customers, we have an average conversion rate of people landing on the game, playing the game, signing up to whatever it is, on 50%, 50.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and if you just have an average conversion rate on I don't know, Amazon, whatever, it's normally around 1%. So we have an average conversion rate of 50%. That's one thing. And that's, of course, back to the willingness of opt into something that has a gaming environment, having a gaming element. The next thing we also measure our value on together with the customer is the capability of having people's eyeballs. If we really, look in a nutshell, what marketing is about, it's about having people's attention for as long as possible, serve them a message, buy this, get this for a long time, and they make people remember it as long as possible. That's basically what marketing is about. But if you put, our platform in that equation, so to say, we have an average people's eyeballs for 1 minute and 5 seconds, I think. Normally in ads it's 1.5 seconds, but we have them above a minute, and that minute is more valuable than just a flat ad. I think the best way to go to sleep would be to just find a 10 minutes YouTube commercials and then just put it on repeat and then just sit down and watch that. You will not be able to remember any of them tomorrow. But when you play your game, your brain is active. And I can ask you, Nusrat, do you still remember last time you won something in your sport life?
Yeah, I do. But the feeling sticks with me even if it's like a new personal, like a PB running.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So a half marathon, people can still say, yeah, my last half marathon was, 1 minute and 35 minutes or below 2 hours or whatever the target is. People can just immediately repeat this. And if we put that into marketing and games and gamification, that 1 minute we have together with our audience as a marketeer create remembrance because the brain is active. We are playing, we are prioritizing, we're scratching, we're spinning, we're quizzing, we're so and so. So we have an interaction. And if you then make people win or getting mirrored or being rewarded with something, then they will remember you. And that's back to the brain hack, as we call it, the dopamine effect. So you still also probably remember your first kiss or, whatever you got a super good hug from your husband and so and so. All these kind of moments is based on dopamine releases in the brain. And that's what we do in marketing. So instead of having 1.5 seconds in average on a classic commercial ad, we have 1 minute where we are engaging deeply and creating remembrance with our audience. That's one thing we're looking at. The other thing is also that we are first screen. Normally, when I sit together with my lovely wife and we watch a movie, both of us still have our mobiles relatively close by us to browse Instagram, to do shopping, do whatever. But when we're playing. If you have children and they are playing esports and so, they are not playing esport and watching a movie. They're only playing some kind of esports. And that's also the attention span, so to say, is super focused and dedicated when we are playing. And you can see the same if you are playing Monopoly. Sometimes you see those videos going viral where people get rooms by playing Monopoly. That's because we are so dedicated to the games. And that's also what we are trying to do in marketing. But it's tricky because normally it's, why do I want to spend 1 minute together with whatever brand,
Yeah.
But you can do that when you are using gamification.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely. I'm thinking through all of the examples now of when I've won something or if I've engaged in any other games. It's so interesting. I can't even remember what I was going to ask. So, Playable has likely encountered lots of customer success stories, and everything you're saying certainly makes sense. So, could you share one or two standout examples of how your platform has transformed a client's marketing strategy?
Yeah. So a classic example is grocery retail. Everyone knows the daily struggle about, okay, where do I need to go to get the best prices, best quality, etc., etc. So we have a lot of grocery retailers. So Co-op, as an example, you also have them in the UK. We have them in many different markets. But imagine you are Co-op and you want to drive more traffic to your stores. Then you can push out a game. It's all about winning the weekend basket. So we shop big Thursday or Friday for the entire weekend. So we put out a game. We push it via an app or via our loyalty program Thursday morning and Friday morning. We push out a game. The game is sponsored, of course, by, let's just take an example, Carlsberg. It's a very proud Danish beer brand. And of course, that fits into my consumer behavior within Coop. So they push out a game saying, oh, Carlsberg just launched this new game. Do this Wheel of Fortune and win a 6-pack from Carlsberg. Value £5. All right, I do the scratch card. First of all, I open the app. I'm now in a Coop environment. I do a scratch card. I want something. I want a Snickers. I want a 6-pack, whatever it is. Then I'm 80% more likely to redeem the voucher within the next 48 hours. And when I'm in store, I'm also increasing my basket size by 25% because I enter the store happy. I know that there is a Snickers next to the point of sale system, the cashier. I know there is a 6-pack, cold 6-pack waiting for me, etc. So I start to do the shopping much more than I usually would do because I enter the shop and the store with a smile. And we can see that every time they're giving away 1,000 vouchers, 75% of them are redeemed. So for Carlsberg, it's a super attractive media space to be in, to say, okay, I want to connect with the 10 million users of the Co-op UK loyalty program. I would like to target all of them who is buying beers normally for the weekend, having X amount of data points, behavior, and so and so. And then, by the way, we can also do the sampling in store. So I know that the new beer launch or taste or whatever is being used by the consumers. So for us, it's perfect marketing to connect the FMCG with the retail media apps or the loyalty programs apps, and using the incentive there is behind the games to make people go to the store and redeem the price, even though that the value is probably 50 cents or £1. It doesn't really matter. It's just that now I want something, then I'm also going to redeem it and pick it up in the stores. And that's actually what a classic use case where both the FMCG brand, Carlsberg, whatever, is winning something. The Co-op stores are winning the weekend basket, and the consumer in the end is getting something for free. And then, of course, over time, it's much more likely to be loyal to Co-op because you have a positive association with them. So that's just a win-win-win situation example. And then, of course, we have all the classic ones. We have I don't know when this here is published, but we have Black Friday coming up in a couple of weeks when we're recording this. A lot of our customers is right now capturing a lot of new leads with some data points, asking some personality tests, product selectors. What kind of offer do you want to have for your Black Friday? Is it for yourself? Is it for Christmas gifts? Is it for your wife? Is it for your husband? Children, etc., etc., and then asking a lot of data points. So whenever we hit the big marketing button for Black Friday, we can be super personalized and match my, personality product selector with whatever offer I'm receiving, or maybe winning 10% on X amount of products I'm very likely to buy. Something like this is classic use case for our customers.
Amazing. I'm starting to realize that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is the earliest example of gamification that I can recognize.
It is, yeah.
All those chocolate bars. But yeah, thank you so much for explaining that. That's amazing. And that case study is, I think, on the website as well when I looked. So brilliant stuff. So I think it'd be good to understand, how has the Playable platform incorporated user feedback and suggestions in the platform's development? Has it improved user experience in any way?
Yeah, I think one of our edges, so to say, as a company is that we have a extreme power of executing stuff. Sorry for my English, but we get shit done. We have a lot of interactions with our customers via meetings, via chat support, via online seminars, etc., where we are collecting all our customer feedback, and we are releasing thousands of releases each year based on customer feedback. So we have, of course, customers who have been here for a while, who has been launching games, been launching integrations, different features, etc., within the platform, totally based on their preferences. And of course, we look ourselves up every time. Okay, should we invest 100 hours in this crazy button? One customer had a crazy idea or saw something somewhere in his previous job, etc. We always prioritize, but we have a crazy big power in our tech room for adapting customer needs and executing it extremely fast. One of our main powers is that we can build integrations within normally 2 days. So if I have a customer meeting on Monday and we don't have an integration with their CRM system and we'll have a next meeting on Friday, I can actually set it up live together with the customer. And that execution power is it's an edge for us as a company, but it's also a wow effect for the customers that we are so flexible, so fast, and so customer focused and developing. So yes, definitely one of our key strategic edges whenever we are developing stuff is to fit customers.
That's incredible. That's so good. So great on the user experience side. What do you see as the most significant trends in gamification marketing today? And how is Playable positioned to capitalize on those trends? I mean, I might even ask, are like your users influencing those trends in what they're asking for?
Of course, over time, we have been having a lot of, end users, marketeers building our platform, changing jobs over the time naturally, and then bringing on our technology as a skill. I still remember the first time I saw someone using, a skill on their LinkedIn profile. I'm certified in using Playable platforms, so that of course makes us proud. So that's one way of us growing. In general, the market is growing. You said it in the intro as well. The market is growing, so of course we are trying to capitalize as much as possible in this, and are also investing quite heavily in both sales and marketing. So yes, we are definitely aiming to win that race, and it's also all in all looking good. From a consumer point of view, we often get the question if people ever get annoyed or bored by seeing spin the wheels or scratch card and so online. But we see that customers comes back more and more the more games they see. So the end users, the consumers, love the games. And we can also see that our customers, the marketeers, the more games they produce, the higher conversion rate they get on the games. So for us, we haven't seen any limitations trend-wise to see why is this not, racing into heaven. So overall, on all parameters, more and more users. We also, it's not that we love competitors, but for us, it's super positive that someone else in the world is also preaching our agenda of, using gamification in your MarTech stack. So for us, it's just positive that more and more is together with us is creating the demand in the market, because it's not a big demand. There's not that many, inbound leads in our sales team yet. It's definitely getting much better, but we are not drowning in leads, unfortunately.
Absolutely fine. Well, hopefully this episode could change it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. I think gamification can raise questions about ethics and user engagement. That's more broadly speaking of, when you're thinking about gamification across all of the different things it could touch on. But how does Playable ensure, responsible and ethical use of gamification in marketing, if that's a concern?
Yeah. One thing is we are not sharing any money prices. So basically it's all about creating an incentive for someone to give a little bit of their time and eyeballs or emails, permissions, etc. And in return, they're being educated, they're having some good time, they're being rewarded with a personality or a product selection or recommendation, or of course also a reward, which can be 10% discount, free shipping, sneakers in the co-op shop, etc. And by having a hard focus on not only the price but also the time together, makes it, in our world, totally fair that the marketeers is, I would not say manipulating with the human brain, but using these brain hacks to interact with the customers. For us, it's, we can see people are doing it more and more. It's not, of course, not in an addictive way like gambling and so, but as long as they're not sharing money prices, cash prices, then we're all good with this.
Yeah, that really does seem to be the key thing. Absolutely fine. Can you share any advice or lessons for business leaders looking to build, maybe not their own gamification platform, but a platform in general?
Yeah, there's many. I think it's about creating the right foundation for scaling. One of the things we didn't succeed was to build a solid foundation before really scaling hard in a short period of time. We had the luxury of having a super mature product from day one, as I said before. Whenever you are scaling, make sure that your backbone organization, people-wise, system-wise, reporting-wise, KPI-wise, and of course also platform-wise, is ready for adding in 100 colleagues or 1,000 customers or whatever it is. If you're not able, if you're still struggling with data reporting, the problem only gets bigger if you add in 10 more people and 100 customers. So if you don't have the foundation in place and it's relatively rock solid, you're not ready for scale. I think that's a good advice from my point of view, at least. And then, of course, you should also identify your key staff and make sure that they're on board with the strategy, and that also can be cascaded down in the customer facing roles, so we're having the same alignment across the company. That's also something that is extremely tricky, especially cross borders, across language barriers, nationality, cultural rights, etc. That has also been, I would not say surprisingly hard, but for me it was a very big surprise that the culture differences still matter so much in this super polarized international world.
Oh, interesting. That's very sage advice for sure. Finally, what's next for Playable's growth and for the platform itself?
We are looking at, of course, one thing is to, now we establish in a handful of markets, which is all good. We are a profitable company now and are totally ready for scale again. We have an efficient growth plan. We are ready to execute from 1st of Jan next year. We're looking at two different ways of scaling. One thing is, do we need to invest in having feet on the ground in a specific market? There is a lot of markets on our radar, but are we able to attract people, for example, in London, French-speaking people, Norwegian-speaking people, etc., to open up those markets? Or do we need to establish an office in Oslo, in Paris, in Marseille, or wherever we want to establish? Those are the considerations we are from a growth perspective, new biz-wise. Then we are investing very, very hard on our customer side over the next, I would say 2 years, to secure all customers getting maximum return of the subscription they have to our company. One thing is in the people wise, we also upscaling all our employees with internal courses, endless of training sessions, etc., to make sure the customers gets the most out of the platform. Then we have a data team working on recommendations to, okay, so if I'm a customer working in this vertical, aiming for this KPI, having these channels and these demographics, and so what should I do? Then we have a working together with our data team with a, I will not say science proof, but quite solid recommendations of how to achieve the KPIs. And then, of course, the technology. Our product is developing. We are releasing many times every day. We are adding, of course, more games, more integrations, more features, but also looking into expanding in other directions. Should we go into a more loyalty or e-learning or HR or other stuff in different direction, and we are looking in many different scenarios, so to say.
That's so exciting. Really, really cool. Amazing stuff. Thank you for answering, such with such thought and care and giving such great advice. I do have a little bit of a game for you now. Well, it's you don't win anything. It's just some quick fire questions. So if you don't mind answering, yes, well, it's sort of a very simple sort of question round. Favorite piece of tech or app you're using now?
That's a good one. My wife would say Instagram, but I would say Slack.
Slack.
Yeah.
Come on, it's got to be Instagram.
Yeah.
But fair enough. Favorite night at the disco or night at a restaurant?
Or I would say night in a bar after a good steak in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm more a sitting kind of guy.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Also, I didn't write these questions, so I'd never been at the disco. Favorite food?
Risotto and a big steak.
Ooh, nice. Favorite movie?
I only got the Danish titles in my head. I'm a big sucker for war movies. What's it called in English? Sorry, I can't remember. It's Steven Spielberg. 1 second.
Oh my gosh, I should know this.
I'm really Band of Brothers. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know it's a Syria, but still, yeah.
That's a great pick. And Warfield. Yeah. Okay. Favorite place you've been on holiday or visited?
Oh, I was my favorite holiday ever was in Tuscany with my wife.
That's lovely.
Well, I proposed to her, by the way.
That's lovely. I'm sure that my director got married there, so very romantic place, I'm sure. What's your favorite guilty pleasure apart from Instagram?
I eat a lot of candy, I must admit that. But I still train a lot to compensate. But I really have a sweet tooth, as you say in Danish. I really like candy.
That's not a guilty pleasure. It's fuel. It's fuel. And if you had one superpower, what would it be and why?
I would say, if you ask my wife, it would be something where I throw away all my clothes. But I would say one superpower, to be a little bit more structured in problem solving, I would say. Okay. I have a little brainstorm guilty pleasure in having a lot of whiteboard sessions without doing all the follow-ups, I would say. That's probably a weak spot.
I see. There's like post-it notes and string everywhere kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Only the same. That's fair enough. Thank you so much, Andreas. I've really, really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks so much for your time and for all of the advice. I'm sure we've all learned everything. And for persevering with the email notifications as well. And to my listeners, I promise I tried to turn them off.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have a really busy day ahead. So good luck with that. Enjoy. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. 5